Welcome back to Gruesome Magazine. Tonight we're reviewing Blood Barn, coming to SCREAMBOX Tuesday, February 17th, 2026.
Gruesome Magazine.
With me tonight is Paul Gardullo. Paul, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing pretty good, Doc. How about you?
Are you ready to go to the Blood Barn?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. So what we're going to do tonight is we're going to give you the skinny about the film, and then we're going to give you our first impressions. We'll talk about the film for a little bit, and then we'll wrap things up with our score. But before we do that, we want to invite you to like and subscribe and share with a friend. It'll help us not only get more subscribers, but find more horror fans just like you. We'd love to do that. All right, let's get it. Where am I taking that? I don't know, but let's just do this. Blood Barn. Blood Barn is directed by Gabriel Bernini, written by Gabriel Bernini and Alexandra Jade. The cast includes Chloe Cherry, Lena Redford, Andrea Bambina, Simon Paris, Samuel Lanier, Felipe Di Poi, Tarmargo. You know I was going to stumble over that one, and Pierce Champion. The synopsis is, to celebrate the last summer before college, Josie invites 6 fellow campers, or camp counselors actually, to her family's abandoned barn. As their presence stirs a supernatural, malevolent force, Josie faces a shrouded history in order to save her friends. Yes. All right, Paul. With that out of the way, you're up first. What was your first impression of Blood Bowl?
Sad to say, I don't think it worked well for me. I think it's supposed to be like the bit of I know it looked like it was definitely looks like it was definitely perhaps an homage, at least in part, to Evil Dead. I mean, they do the shaky camera, things like this. But I just didn't find it funny. I think you and I kind of talked about this a little bit, that perhaps it's because I'm an old fart, and I think it might have been Gen Z humor. So it might be one of those things that plays better for people in their mid 20s to early 30s, and maybe better in a big crowd, but just not when you have a couple old farts watching it. I mean that's well, no, you're young. I meant me. I'm the old fart. So yeah, I mean I think that's the long and short of it for me. It didn't quite work. There was a couple times where it promised to get like, oh, this might be kind of interesting because they might subvert expectations and go this other direction, and then they subvert expectations, but not in the way I wanted I guess the way I was expecting them to be subverted. So anyway, but yeah.
You lost me on that one.
I expected them to subvert my expectations, and they subverted my expectations of them subverting my expectations. So yeah. Anyway, that's a long and short of it. How about you?
This one did not work for me either. But I can see where if you were at a film festival with a crowd, this is going to be a riot because of how campy and silly it is at times. Yeah. It's I didn't get the humor part of it, and it a lot of that fell horribly flat for me. Wasn't really invested in it either. It had a hard time keeping my interest. I think it had a hard time keeping your interest, if I remember. The acting's all over the place, but I think a lot of it's intentional to get that campy feel.
Yeah.
So I unfortunately did not appreciate the efforts, and I don't know how to go about saying that without being. I'm trying not to be insulting. It
Well, I didn't say it didn't quite work for us. I mean, the work I did have a couple. There was a couple chuckles that I did have, but not as many as I expected. And like I said, perhaps if it's a Gen Z humor is definitely different than Gen X humor. That's and it doesn't always hit the same. And so again, maybe in a younger crowd, it'd be more fun. The only thing is, also, it was just the way it was shot. I mean, it actually looked like it was shot on videotape, so they got that kind of feel to it. But it was too claustrophobic. It was like this, and I can't really see what's going on when it's like this. It was just it felt too claustrophobic in terms of how it was shot sometimes. So the any sort of action there was, it was like I couldn't quite get that. Um, so that also didn't quite work for me.
Yeah, it was interesting because, like you mentioned, it did try to capture that Evil Dead feel. It has the camera zooming through the grass up to the door, and the doors open up and keeps going and stuff like that. But then at other times, it was just very straightforward, flat looking at a character doing dialogue, and that was a bit disjointing for me.
Yeah,
Along with the editing, I thought the editing was choppy and didn't it took me out of the film.
yeah,
But I think they were doing it to I there were you, I recognize what they were after.
yeah,
And when I watched the trailer and when we were setting up to do the film, I was eager to witness that because it's also very apparent in the trailer.
yeah.
And then got this one particular experience, which did not live up to my expectation. Like you said, it is only what it's only an hour and 16 minutes, but it felt longer to
Unfortunately, yeah, the same here. It didn't. I think the best way to put it is it didn't work for us, right?
me.
But
Mhm.
your mileage may vary, and and again, I think you mentioned the situation you're in. If you're seeing it in a film festival, you got a bunch of friends hanging out, and just it's going to probably be a bit more fun.
Yeah, it's going to land a lot better if you're in the right crowd in the right scenario. We definitely weren't because we were sitting here looking at it, yeah, stuffy people watching a horror film trying to review it. So that's not we weren't the crowd it was aimed for. I'm just going to say that.
Yes, yeah, we're not the target audience.
No, no. Even though we could have been, but it's aimed for somebody adjacent to us. Um, I the cast were interesting individually, um, and some of the choices of the cast were more interesting and then than how they were in the film. I don't want to go too far into all that, but
Yeah,
I, I could tell the characters apart. I could tell the actors apart. Sometimes when these characters, if they come across bland, they start to blend together. But each one had their own personality, and I appreciated that, and that kept me going through the film. So I think the actors all knew what they were doing as far as what this film was.
yeah.
There were. It's not like two of them got the film and the other ones are trying to figure it out. No, everybody was on the same page, and I did appreciate that quite a bit. And yeah, it's like like you said earlier, like some of it lands for us.
Yeah.
Uh, the effects and some of the scenarios. Not as a whole, unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes that happens. Like I said, if you're not the target audience, and especially humor, because humor is can be very subjective, and sometimes when you have those generational differences in humor, it can be quite a just in terms of how it works. And I mean, we knew what they were trying to do. That's the thing. It
Right.
wasn't like we didn't have a clue. Going, this wasn't a very good horror movie. I mean, no. I mean, we knew what they were trying to do. We knew even the kind of, especially like they had that VHS look, and they were trying to kind of go for that, but something about it just didn't work
Yeah,
for us.
that doesn't add up. The yeah, no, and both of us have experience on independent film sets. You much
Oh
more than me, but
yeah,
I could see the passion for making the film. It lands on the screen, and like I think I kind of mentioned that earlier, just with the actors themselves, but as a whole, as a group, I think that works throughout. But yeah, story wise and pacing wise and editing wise, not so much. Sorry. With that, before we bury ourselves deep, 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 Paul, why don't we start our scores for this film? Five being the best. Tell me, sir, what is your score for Blood Barn?
so I mean, I'm going to say 1.5, which is probably higher than I would give for my personal feelings on it, but actually lower than what I think a lot of other people would give, because I think it's one of those things that I think it's not not bad. It's just wasn't was I just didn't get the humor in it. It didn't work for me. So 1.5. I think especially if if you have more hair on your head than I do, and less gray in your beard, and you're in a group of like-minded individuals and perhaps imbibing or whatever, partaking in whatever you might want to, I think you might have a lot more fun with it. But if you're an old fart like me, maybe not so much. Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, I agree. The 1.5 for our experience, because we did watch it together.
Yeah.
And yeah, that was our experience. So if we'd seen it separately, I think our scores might have been a little different.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that for anybody out there wondering why we are scoring this exactly the same, it is the shared experience that did that. I don't want to say anything else because I'm going to say something I don't want to say. But there is a crowd for this. They're going to enjoy it quite a bit. You need those who are listening need to determine that on your own. The trailers are out there. Check it out and yeah, have fun.
Exactly.
Have fun. All right. Thank you, sir. With that, I appreciate you joining me on this one.
It was fun. Oh, go ahead.
I'm sorry to subject you to it, but I'm glad we had our fun.
It was okay. We had fun because we had fun watching. What's the movie called?
Blood
Born! That part actually got me chuckle too.
Yes, when you watch the film, you'll understand what we just did. All right, with that, please let's say goodnight.
Good night, everybody.